It's Nicolas Cage playing Dracula. Do you need to hear anything else? What is up, everybody, and welcome to my review of Renfield, also known as the Nicolas Cage Dracula film, also known as one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I remember seeing the teaser trailer for this, and all the way through it, I was like, that looks like solid fun. Nicholas Hoult, I loved him in The Menu. I'd appreciate seeing him do something different. It looks like it's going to be a zany, goofy time. And then as soon as they entered Dracula and revealed that it was being played by Nick Cage, instant ticket purchase. And I saw this movie right smack dab in the middle of a triple feature the other night. The other two movies I will have reviews out for tomorrow, but this, without a doubt, was the best experience of the three, so I'm going to get this one out first because I'm so excited to tell you how awesome and fun this movie was. But really quick before we dive into this film, guys, this May 31st, we're gonna have our newest edition of 31 on 31. If you have not seen one of those before, it's essentially where me and the rest of the guys in Autop Stream take a collection of films with a specific theme and 31 different movies and rank them together. And this May is gonna be vampires and werewolves. Creatures of the Night is what we are calling it. And Renfield is one of the films that's going to be included in that list. So get hyped up. In just over a month, we're going to be talking about hopefully some of the best vampire and werewolf movies out there, as well as a couple of stinkers, hard to avoid, but it should be a really fun video. So look forward to that, because I sure as hell am. And with that said, one final thing before we get rolling. While Dracula has that supernatural edge to keep his skin glistening and damage-free, you might need a little extra help yourself. And that is why I have partnered with Geology on today's sponsorship. As I've gotten older, skincare has become a much bigger concern and a bigger piece of my hygiene routine. And the company that has helped me reach my skincare goals the easiest has been Geology. Geology is an 18-time award-winning skin, hair, and body care company with over 6,000 five-star reviews. They create simple and effective skincare and hair care routines customized just for you. Their products are built around just a handful of powerful proven ingredients that have been trusted by dermatologists for decades. Because at the end of the day, skincare is science and shouldn't feel like a gamble. Geology Skincare helps you fight acne, reduce oiliness, prevent wrinkles, combat dark and puffy under eyes, have smoother hydrated skin, and target signs of aging. And now the best in the skincare game has expanded their reach into hair care and body care with co-washes, shampoos, conditioners, body washes, deodorants, and much more. I've loved the scents and how well their body washes lather up, but my favorite of their new products is easily the deodorants that have a great natural smell and don't leave those nasty white circles around the insides of your black t-shirts. Just click the link in the video description and take their 30-second diagnostic quiz. Tell them about your skin and your goals, and a team of dermatologists will design a personalized routine just for you that is shipped directly to your door. And right now, for a limited time, Geology is hooking you up with an insane offer. Use my code CODY70 or scan the QR code on the screen and they will give you an exclusive 70% off of their award-winning skincare trial set. That's a $50 value of products for just 15 bucks. On top of that, they're giving you an exclusive bonus offer on one of their brand new skin, hair, and body products of your choice when you add it to your trial. So take charge of your skin, body, and hair today by using Geology. That's Geologie. And thank you to Geology for partnering with me on today's video. Starting off with the positives, there's very few times anymore that I can tell you a movie is just pure, unadulterated, carnage-fueled fun. Very rarely do you get a film that is fun and also just goes balls out with the gore. And I loved the way that they managed to balance that in this, to where you have this goofy-ass concept where you have Nicolas Hoult playing a familiar, in other words, the servant to a vampire. You've got Nicolas Cage as Dracula, and Nicolas Hoult is tasked with going out and getting innocent people to come back and feed Dracula so that he can go to full power and begin to enact his plan for world domination. And right as the movie starts, Nicolas Hoult starts to have an attack of conscience to where he wants to turn over a new leaf. He wants to get out from underneath the psychological grip of Nicolas Cage's Dracula, and you have a ton of action sequences that are just absolutely gore-fueled. And if I'm telling you the movie's gory as fuck, you know it's gory as fuck. There's literally a point where Nicolas Hoult rips a dude's arms off and then uses those bloody detached limbs as like javelins to staple two other dudes to the fucking wall. and that's like maybe the 7th goriest thing that happens in this movie. And get ready for a bombshell, guys, because you have never heard me say this before, and there's a solid chance you'll never hear me say it again. There is a lot of CGI blood in this movie, and I dug it. Yeah, trust me, I'm as shocked as you. I am typically one of the louder voices when you have a horror film, comedic or not, that results to CGI gore. Usually, immediately, that pisses me off. I cannot stand digital gore because very rarely is it convincing, and more times than not, it's actually distracting. But for whatever reason, either because of the extreme amounts that they use in this movie or because of the tone of the film itself, I actually felt like it fit. There was one specific shot that looked really digital and really cartoonish that should have been better. Outside of that one shot, while being obviously CGI blood, I thought that it was actually fun and entertaining. I mean, I don't know how much blood, how much actual corn syrup they would have had to order to do a practical version of the gore in this movie, but this is the one time, probably, in the history of this channel and forever and always that you will hear me tell you that the CGI blood was actually utilized pretty damn well. And it's just a fun concept regardless of the action and the carnage. I mean, you have like this exploration of codependency and narcissism and like almost like relationship abuse that's woven into this horrific tale about two undead people stuck in this lifetime of servitude, in this codependent relationship with each other. And it was just a really smart way to do both of those, to where it has something to say, it has something to tell you about something that happens a lot in today's society and has always been a problem in society, while at the same time telling it through the eyes of Dracula's servants. So it never takes itself too seriously to where the message becomes the focus and not just the zany ass fun time that they want you to have. Nicholas Hoult does a great job at bringing that real human element to something that is very undead in this film. I loved him in The Menu. I really enjoyed most of what he did in the X-Men movies, and so he's a guy that's slowly starting to make a name for himself, and his character is just really charming and endearing. He's got that kind of old school quality to him. You know, he's been alive for a century or so at this point, but him trying to turn over a new leaf and starting to identify with these regular old people inside of this little abuse anonymous meeting and starting to have a bit of a likening to Awkwafina's character, who's kind of a heroic cop within a sea of corrupt cops. The journey you go along with him, you really want him to come out on top. For all of the evil that he has committed, for all the people that he has aided in their horrific, gory demise, you want him to come out of the other side clean. Movie also does have a pretty smart wit about it. I wish I saw it in a crowded theater. There was only like 3 other people in there with me, because there's moments in the movie where I chuckled that I can immediately feel like if I had a theater of people laughing, I would have laughed harder, I would have enjoyed it more, but there's some solid jokes throughout. There's a couple of recurring jokes. There's some that's just visual sight gags, especially with just the extremity of the gore. And so if you're somebody that just wants to have a fun time, if you watched the trailer or the teaser and said, that looks like a hell of a good time at the movies, then you're really going to enjoy this. And of course, last but absolutely not least, Nicolas Cage as Dracula is something that I never knew that I needed in my life, but I'm so glad that I have it. Nicolas Cage is one of those guys that, you know, throughout my childhood was one of the biggest actors ever. You know, I grew up in the 90s where it was kind of his hot streak in his career. You get things like Con Air and Face Off and The Rock. And then he had that little quiet era where he was kind of just doing direct-to-video stuff. And slowly over the past decade or so, he's been picking really unusual projects to slowly make this resurgence. And I have really enjoyed the last couple of years especially. Like Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent was one of my favorite movies of last year. This is the best and funniest thing that I have seen Nick Cage do since Castor Troy in Face Off. And that is a bold statement that I will stick to. He has an absolute blast in this role. And he finds this really nice balance between the Nick Cage signature zaniness and this really classic approach, this Lugosi-style Dracula. And the way that those two blend together gives one of the best on-screen representations of that character, of which we have had dozens that I've ever seen. I mean, that was the selling point of the movie, let's be honest. I mean, a lot of us thought that the trailer looked fun, but as soon as it became the Nicolas Cage Dracula movie, the interest level just skyrocketed for those of us that that concept would appeal to. And this will be remembered as the Nicolas Cage Dracula film. They might as well just called it that. They might as well just put that in the trailer and said, Nicolas Cage plays Dracula, come see it April 2023. And it probably would have the exact same box office that it has this weekend, which hopefully is going to be successful. But he, while being a side character, while not being the protagonist or the main focus of the movie, every time he was on screen, you just laughed and smiled and just had a great time with what he was bringing. The practical effects on his makeup as he's kind of deteriorated and fucked up in certain aspects of the movie looked really good. His evil plan and the charisma that he brings about when trying to like psychologically manipulate Renfield, or when he's actually tearing into people and just ripping limbs off and biting people's necks and clearing an entire room. I need more of this. Like, if we get a sequel, I will be so happy, because that means more Nicolas Cage Dracula, and that's something the world needed. Nicolas Cage Dracula.
Let's see.
Moving on to the mixed aspects, I will say Awkwafina. Now, I'm somebody that I just don't think she's a very good actress. I have no hate for her whatsoever. She seems like a totally pleasant person, but I've seen her now in the Jumanji sequel, I've seen her in Shang-Chi, and now I've seen her in this. And while I will say she has the best material to work with in this film of those three, she's got some good standout jokes here, as an actress, I never really buy into her character. I never really buy into her performance. So while I think this is the best thing that I've seen her do, and it's the type of movie to where a performance like hers is certainly not going to derail a single thing, she's still an actress that when I see her name in a movie, I go, oh, she's not that good though. And now moving on to the negatives, and there is this side story going on the entire film about the corruption of this city and this mob family that killed Awkwafina's father, and it does come together pretty decently by the third act at intertwining with the whole plot with Dracula and Renfield, so it ended on a much better note, but the first 2/3, maybe even more of the film, I didn't like any of these characters. I didn't care about that storyline. Every single time that it cut to them, I just got impatient and wanted them to go back to Renfield and go back to Dracula. And I don't know exactly specifically what could have been done to make it better. Maybe to have a more charismatic or likable side villain here, the whole bitchy, spoiled, entitled mob boss son. Maybe cast a more iconic actress to play the mob boss mother, like a Sigourney Weaver or something like that would have been really cool. I don't know what missing element specifically there was. I can just tell you that that whole aspect of the film was easily my least favorite. All in all, guys, know who you are. If you watched the trailer and said that looks like a blast, can't wait to see it, you're probably really going to enjoy this. If you saw it and said that looks a little stupid and I've got some concerns, movie's probably not going to win you over by the end of it, but I thought it looked like a blast, and that's exactly what I had. I really enjoyed the concept, really enjoyed the zaniness, the extreme gore, and like I've said, Nick Cage Dracula is something that exists, and I am happy that it exists. So, bring on a Renfield 2 and a Renfield 3. Well, that's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed this, please click over here for all of my 2023 new release reviews, and I'm also going to put my March movie ranking up here. Check out all of those movies I saw last month. Please like and share and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss everything in the future. And as always, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean you have to be.